We know that Pesach is the holiday of Emunah, of faith. It's the seed in which Hashem plants the very Jewish people that helps us grow into what becomes a nation. What's Chabad's perspective of Emunah? What is Emunah? What's the point of it? Why does it exist? Why is it there in the first place? And most importantly, what are we supposed to do with it? Emunah is a foundation. It's the cement inside, deep in the ground. The thing which, no matter how big the storm is, no matter if the tornado comes, no matter what happens, you don't remove the foundation. Even nuclear bombs don't remove foundations. And that's what your Emunah is, the foundation. However, or just to be more specific, or to bring it down into a more reasonable or relatable term, Emunah is something which never, ever, ever changes. Somebody changes your Emunah, and we have a problem. You have a problem. It shows the foundation wasn't a foundation, because you could have gone deeper. But Emunah is where it starts. Like I said, Emunah is the seed. And the purpose of the seed is to grow into a tree. What's a tree? A tree is Torah and Mitzvos. As we know from Sukkos, when we take the Arba Minim, the Torah is compared to a date tree, because it has, and the Mitzvot are compared to a Hadas tree. And the Esrog has both, because Torah is taste and Mitzvos are smell, etc., etc. Not for now. But that's the point of the seed. That's the point of Emunah. To live your whole life just based on Emunah is a dangerous place to live. And that's why we have Chabad in the first place. That's what Chabad is. Chabad doesn't tell you, just, be a simple yid and don't ask questions and just... Chabad says, no. You start by being an a simple yid. You begin with that. That's where you start with. And you start by just, quote-unquote, doing your job. Torah, mitzvahs, Kabbalah soul. No questions asked about it, yes. But that also has to develop. That also has to expand. You also have to begin to use your mind. You have to use your brain. And that's really where the Emunah comes. The Emunah, and I believe this is true, it should be true in Chabad. I mean, we're seeing it more now, Baruch Hashem. It's not about don't ask questions. It's not about accept what I have to say and stop asking questions. You say don't ask questions when it comes time to do the mitzvah. Practical, the actual mitzvah, you have to do. Don't ask questions. The reasons for it, the hakira, the philosophy, everything about that, you absolutely are. Not only are you supposed to, not only are you allowed to ask questions, you're demanded to ask questions. The whole concept of Chabad is using your brain, is using your intellect. And the whole concept of intellect is questioning things, is analyzing, is verifying, is proving, is disproving, is back and forth, is a shakla v'tarya. That's what Chabad is. And Chabad Mamish tells us we do it on we don't leave that just for Shulchan Aruch and Gemara and just, the nigla of Torah, the revealed part of the laws of Torah, But like the esoteric, mystical parts, no. That part, don't ask questions. No, Chabad Mamish, as you see tremendously how much in depth the Alter Rebbe goes into every little Maimer Chazal and every little Zohar and Eitz Chaim and everything. And dissects and pushes and teaches and, and we're demanded and required to do that. That our Emunah is just a foundation. And on top of that foundation, we build a structure of Chachma Bina Das. Now the question is why? Why? What's wrong with being Erlich Yidden? What's wrong with not asking questions? What's wrong with leaving the mystical and esoteric parts of big rabbis could study that. We'll all be, get to literature Yidden and stop asking questions on the Eibishter, on the world, on existence. Just do what you're supposed to do. Put your head down and do what you're told. I'm going to bring you a contemporary example of what I'm seeing in the world. as this is how I saw it and related to it. We've seen since the pandemic and the lockdowns, Yamach Shemam, that there's been a tremendous amount of authoritarianism going on in the world. From every country. In fact, just this week, China's been going door to door, taking away people's pets and slaughtering them. And don't think, oh yeah, the communists, the Chinese. Yeah, no, we're fine. Western democracy. Yeah? Have you guys seen videos of what's going on in Australia? Perhaps it's opened up more now. But literally children being torn away from their mothers. People being arrested for simply not wearing a mask. The apparatus and the reason why these totalitarian states exist is specifically because we don't ask questions. You do your job. You're a policeman, you're a police officer, you do your job. Stop, And this has always, throughout history, been the cause of tremendous pain and suffering, giving the green light to all the worst sociopaths and psychopaths in history to manipulate and control people and utilize this and give people a righteous or moral, an ethical green card to let them go do whatever they wish upon another. All in the name of, this is good, this is right, this is correct, you're doing your job. And this is why we need Chabad, this is why we need the Chochmah Bein Hadas. This is why we also, and of course, to be more specific, Chabad doesn't demand that, Chochmah Bein Hadas, go be a cerebral Jew, Sit around, have your brain in Atzilus and your body never mind. No. Chabad specifically says, the whole point of the Chochmah Bein Hadas is that it enters your heart. That you should come to love another Yid. You have to, the whole etzem is Avas Yisrael. If the Chochmah Bein Hadas stays in your head, you're no better than a Hellenist. It has to affect your heart. It must. That's the whole point. In fact, there's arguments amongst it's called Chabad Chassidim, which stands for Chochmah Bein Hadas, wisdom, intellect, and understanding. Very, very poor terms, but essentially the cerebral mind versus the Chagas, which means the emotional. Our severity, our kindness, our beauty, or the combination of the two. But generally, the Chassidim of, let's say, of Poland tended to have more been the Chagas Chassidim. They loved Hashem with their heart, and they were excited, and they would clap, and they would dance, and they would, a whole, big, get the podium and the speaker and make a lot of noise about how much you love Hashem, all with your emotions. And Chabad would say, well, you don't love Hashem like that. You're just making a big story. You're acting it out. And they would answer, yeah, you act it out, and it warms up the heart. We'll do it externally, and it'll eventually enter internally. And there is what to be said about that, and there is a place for it. Chabad says no. We're going to use the mind to train the heart. We're going to use our mind to understand and to appreciate the Eibishter to a point where it affects our heart. As the classic question goes, we're commanded every single day. We say in Shema, you have to love Hashem. And of course, how do you love Hashem? I love Hashem or I don't love Hashem. I can't put a can of tuna in front of you and say, eat this and love it. I don't love tuna. And it says, the commandment isn't to love Hashem with your heart, because you're right, your heart chooses what it chooses. Your commandment is to learn about Hashem, to use your brain to comprehend Hashem. And once you comprehend Hashem, and the more you comprehend and truly understand, mamish, what Hashem gives us every single moment, like every single moment of every single day, how Hashem trusts us. And I'm laughing because it's scary to me as well. But mamash, Hashem trusts us. Hashem trusts us with what's most dear and most precious, and He cares about more than the Olamais and the more than the Olamais and all the worlds above and all the angels and all the heavens and all the other and the Oirein Seif and the Kavim and everything. Hashem cares. Hashem trusts us and cares with what He cares about most. It's unbelievable. It's mind-boggling. But anyway, I digress. My point is, Emunah tells us what we have to do. Chabad tells us why we have to. And we have to feel. We have to remember to bring Chochmah Bein Hadas into our hearts and to feel and to use our brains to truly understand. one last quote which I read in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, where Mamish said that Hashem lambasts the Yidden for the Jews, when they would daven, when they would do their prayers, they would refuse. They wouldn't actually daven. It wasn't a request. It was repetition of whatever their fathers told them to say. It was just, mumble these words and go on with life. And, it doesn't use the word robotically because they didn't have robotically, but I'm sure they would have. And Hashem Pashat says, I don't want your words, I don't want your emotions, I want your heart, I want your heart. You have to feel it. Anyway, it's Pesach. You should have a Chag Kosher v'Sameach. And this year, not next year, not this year Pesach. Last year we already said it. So we said it so many years already. 2,000 years we're saying it. This year may it be with Mashiach Tzidkenu, Meher Yameinu in Yerushalayim. Amen.